This is Peter Walsh with M&R.
Scott Ritter with the Decorator Apparel Expo.
This is Ben Landesman with Lawson Screen and Digital Products.
This is Deborah Sexton.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast hosted by Terry Combs
and Aaron Montgomery.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. It's Friday, October 12th, 2018. I'm Terry Combs with Equipment Zone. You can also find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at aaronmontgomery.info. Today, we're going to be talking with Monty Mims of SanMar's Decorators Relations team for the first time. So excited to talk to Monty today. And he's another self-proclaimed apparel geek like us, Terry. So this is going to be a super fun conversation.
And as we're being listened to by many apparel geeks as well.
Yes. I think that's what brings us all together every Friday morning. So
exactly,
it's going to be an awesome show. But Terry, a couple quick news items before we bring Monty in here. Steve DiCilli with ST Publications reached out to us this morning, and we'd shared this information previously, but it's getting a little bit closer to the deadline. So want to make sure that we share it again. But Screen Printing Magazine's new Rising Star Awards will honor 6 young people whose accomplishments in specialty printing have made an indelible impression. The award is open to individuals under the age of 35 who are employed in specialty printing businesses. So nominations are going to be accepted through October 31st through Halloween, and we'll have a link on our website to make those nominations. So looking forward to seeing who shows up on that list this year, Terry.
Right, absolutely. That's always exciting to see new people in the industry, and you know, there are always new faces at the trade shows. I guess, Aaron, when you spend enough time there, you can't help but see new faces. But
unfortunately, we're a little past the age limit for that award, so I guess we're not rising stars anymore.
just a pinch pass. So,
all right. Well, Gene is checking in here and says good morning. Eric Campbell joining us, and Eric helped us get this show together. Did a ton of work on it, so thanks very much to Eric and all of his efforts to make us look good here.
Exactly right. And hey, Aaron, one news item I wanted to bring up is my favorite issue of Printwear magazine is out. The October issue, and it's available online. It's the supplier's guide, but it's also the annual question and answer guide and how-to handbook. And years ago, Aaron, when I was an active printer, I always loved that issue because basically what it is a question somebody has in the industry and an expert from the industry answering that question. And so there's dozens of people responding to these questions, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. I'm having an issue with this, and here's the 2-paragraph answer. And so it's always a lot of fun, and it's definitely a cover-to-cover read. So we'll have a link to that online version of the October Printwear magazine on our website. So make sure you take a look at that.
Sounds good. And Matthew Foley chimes in here, says living legend Monty Mims. So
look at that.
We won't ask Monty what his age is, but we'll see if he's available to get on that Rising Star list. So seems like he's probably there, but well, anyhow.
I think living legend seems somewhere past Rising Star.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. Stay tuned. But speaking of staying tuned, Terry, at the end of the show, I'm going to bring you 5 things because pretty stoked about SGA coming up next week. And I had 5 things that to me just are points that you have to kind of make part of your itinerary there at SGIA. So I'm excited to bring that stuff to you here at the end of the show.
All right. Very good. Well, hey, we want to thank everybody for listening. We are so pleased to bring you this weekly podcast, the most listened to garment and product decorating podcast in the world. And we've been bringing this show to you since February 2013. It's our 6th season. And as we always say, we avoid the rants and the lecturing and the selling. And we would love to have you visit our website, which is 2 regularguys.com. Check out the show notes and previous podcasts. And just like we've already mentioned today, Aaron, a lot of links on there to anything that we've talked about. So go to our website. Again, that's 2 regularguys.com. Go to our contact us page there as well and suggest shows for us to do in the future. You can also find us all over social media at Two Regular Guys. And if you're catching the live video on Facebook, we would love to have your comments, your insights, your questions, your participation. So Aaron will tell you a little bit about how to do that, but we'd love to have you as a part of the show today.
Absolutely. And just so everybody knows, if we're fortunate enough that a lot of folks have shared these episodes on Facebook, and that's awesome. The problem is that Facebook doesn't allow us to see those comments on those shared versions. So if you are checking this out live from somewhere that it's shared, you do have to just kind of jump off there and head over to facebook.com/2regularguys and watch the video right from there, and then post your comments on ours directly, and we'll be able to see it, and we can get things up, like Matthew's comment here about Monty being a living legend and things like that. So we can't wait to interact with you, and it just makes this a whole lot more fun.
All right, absolutely. And Aaron, we were talking about the SGI Expo and how excited we are to be there next week. And they are, in fact, one of the sponsors of our show. So let's hear a word from SGIA about the upcoming expo next week.
Hi, this is SGI's Dan Marks, inviting you to attend the SGI Expo in Las Vegas this October. We're going to show you what's on the horizon, with more than 500 exhibitors showing the latest in dye sub, screen, embroidery, DTG, and more. We have 72 educational sessions, including a garment decoration track, and a special luncheon just for garment decorators. Registration is free through September 19th. Learn more at sgia.org/expo2rg.
All right. Well, definitely, as I said, pretty excited about getting over there. So when you, as Dan mentioned, you want to get to sga.org/expo2rg. And as you're registering there, I just want to make sure that you signed up for the Garment Decorators Lunch. There's limited seating for that available. I think there's still a few seats, but very limited. So hurry over there. It'll be the best $30 you ever spent. I think it's about $30. So Terry, I was able to go last year, and the networking was amazing. Just the kind of a who's list of people in the garment decorating world, and everybody just having a great chat and enjoying lunch together. And there's going to be an awesome speaker this year, Ricardo Crespo. He is the former chief creative at 20th Century Fox, as well as at Mattel before that. So he's a really inspiring guy that Terry and I got to meet when we were out at ThreadX last year. So when you're registering, just buy those tickets for the Garment Decorators Lunch, or all at the same time right there.
Yeah, Aaron. So as soon as you're done with your dessert and you see Ricardo walking up on the stage, buckle your seatbelt, because he is a dynamic speaker. He'll be all over the stage, and he'll be challenging you with his ideas on marketing. And I'm really looking forward to that. And Aaron, he's also, as we've talked about before, the keynote speaker for the upcoming ThreadX 19. That's going to be February 17th through 19th in San Diego. And of course, we will be there as the Two Regular Guys. And the speaker list for this year is amazing. If you missed 2018, you do not want to miss 2019. And we'll be road tripping at least part of the trip. I know that I've got a screen printing class in Chicago through that Sunday. So I'm gonna be hopping on a plane at O'Hare and shooting straight to San Diego and meeting up with you there, Aaron. And some of the speakers are going to be like Aaron Montgomery, Aaron Draplin, and we are really
with me. I'll figure it out. But
we will be holding court at some part of the resort area, I'm sure,
possibly a bar.
Possibly the hotel bar. All right, we're looking forward to seeing you guys there.
Definitely. Hey, Terry, in fact, you think we can Uber from San Diego to Phoenix? You think on the way back we could Uber and then record a podcast like that? That would be...
Let's sit in the back seat. I love it.
Yeah, we can write off the Uber show against our taxes, though. So that'd be the Uber ride. Decorators in Ubers with cookies or something.
I love it.
All right, Terry. Well, let's get to our guest here. We got lots of great stuff to talk about. So let's welcome him in. I'm going to try to do two things at once, and we know how that always goes. But welcome in Monty Mims. Monty is the second generation of his family in the decorated apparel industry, raised in his father's business, where he worked actively for 7 years before joining SanMar as a territory manager in 2007. As he describes it, I love the industry as a true apparel geek. Monty earned his Bachelor's of Arts in Organization Communications from the University of Central Florida. And as a father of 2 boys, Monty finds himself embracing parenthood and all of the wonders it brings. His passions aside from apparel include music, movies, and following the sport of mixed martial arts. So welcome to the show, Monty. He's ready.
Nice to be here, guys. Thank you so much.
So Terry, before you dive in, I have to speak. I just read, I kind of read ahead a little bit, but mixed martial arts, there was some big news not terribly long ago. I guess I have to get, I'm not a huge fan, but obviously a fight of that magnitude drew attention of a lot of folks. So tell us your take on the Conor McGregor, and I don't remember the other guy's name, but that was a mess, huh?
Khabib Nurmagomedov. Yeah, there's always something crazy going on in that sport. At 40 years old, so let me clear that up. Y'all were talking about ages. I'm officially disqualified for any sort of young rising stars awards. I grew up, at a time when it was pro wrestling and Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, and I guess you could say I'm a quintessential UFC MMA guy for sure. In addition to a love for this industry.
Cool. Yeah, I fall right in there. I just never got to MMA. The wrestling stuff, man, I was all about that for a long time. So we're right in that same boat, Monty.
Aaron, and I'm very disappointed that you didn't try that other name because they're
I butchered
that Apparel Geek.
Yeah, and I will admit I don't think I was officially hooked until I did start working for SanMar, but I do have a unique background. Our industry's not that old. You have 5th generation farmers, but you don't typically have 5th generation screen printers. Yeah. So my dad is an OG in that regard. He did retail transfer shops in the 70s. So here in Florida, I think at his peak he had about 6 store locations. They were called Foxies. So if ever there was something more quintessential 70s, he had it pegged. And when he got kind of tired of the retail drag, he started a business-to-business embroidery company in '81, so not long after I was born, and is running that to this day. He has a 4-head embroidery machine in his garage, and operator has been with him forever, and is really at a place in his life where he's 77. He's doing great. He gets to work when he wants to work, but he, as well as myself, love this industry. I think it's something you can do long into retirement. But I work with him actively after college for some good sort of non-restaurant work experience. And admittedly, I was that, young punk, like crying about coming in at 9 and, skating out of there at 4:57 at each and every day. But, the mid 2000s were an interesting time in the industry. There was a lot of change happening and some exciting products and brands coming in. So I did eventually go from somebody who was, frustrated about, having to come into work so early to starting to enjoy things. And lo and behold, in 2005, that's when SanMar moved into Florida and, started to make themselves more widely known, became really good friends with our local SanMar rep, Clint Bettine, who's still with us, and got hired as they were rapidly growing in the Southeast, got hired to be the territory manager for Jacksonville and cover North Florida, South Georgia. It was a crazy time of my life because within the span of like a month, I had to sell my beloved Toyota Celica to get a little bit bigger vehicle, leave my girlfriend, now wife, all my friends and family, go to a city I'd never visited before and move there, find a place to live. And I had a lot of, knowledge about the industry as a customer, but SanMar had not really hired somebody that was a customer before. So that also was sort of a new thing for them. They had, hired folks that were from other companies or really tried to hire from within as a graduated step. But I was kind of part of an early experiment. What would that look like? Somebody who's, been a customer, and how would they be as a rep? So it was enjoyable and exciting, but also a little scary. And here we are so many years later.
Yeah. Well, so tell us a little bit about, you talked about how that was kind of a new experience then for SanMar and obviously for
Sure.
you. But what did that background that you had, maybe it wasn't ideally what you were wanting to do, but you had that experience in the business. So how did that translate to becoming a territory manager? What did that do for you? How did that give you a step up?
I think it worked well for SanMar. Again, I found in that transition a passion and general, genuine joy for this industry within myself that I didn't realize was there. I think if you asked myself 15 years ago, do you think you'd be in the decorated apparel industry and really to an extent where I'm going to retire with SanMar and this will be my life and enjoyably so, I would have shook my head and said, no way, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm still finding my path. And I found that path, and it's been an enjoyable ride. But having a background like I did, I was not only a student of SanMar, but a student of our competition, of the industry as a whole, and was able to bring in, I think, and feel like some fresh perspective there. And I think since that time, we've hired a number of customers. It's always a little challenging because you don't necessarily want them to be in the same territory for kind of conflict of interest, especially with having a dad who's still in the industry. But I can't tell you how many times, and even to this day in my current role, I've referenced back, to being with my father's business, to having that background. And I can get a sense when I'm talking to somebody, their shoulders drop a little bit. There's a little bit of a calm reassurance that, hey, this guy's lived in my life. He's been on that side of the desk. He's been in these situations before. And so I think I brought a lot of, empathetic awareness to, the challenges, but also, again, that genuine passion of for some reason, loving this wonderful industry that we're all a part of.
I warn people all the time. I do a lot of in fact, I'm teaching a screen printing class tomorrow, and I always warn people, listen, if you're just getting into this is your last chance, because once you're in, you'll never leave.
That's right.
It's kind of like a cult.
It is. It is a wonderful experience.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so tell us a little bit more about the SanMar Decorator Relations team and your part in that.
Yeah, I'm playing a small part of a big thing that's really, I feel like, has taken shape and formation here in the last 3-4 years. But the team wouldn't have been established were it not for our channel manager and leader, Mark Bailey. So Mark Bailey has been in the industry for himself many, many years, and has been at SanMar. I think it was like the 5th or 6th, outside rep we hired, and has been a regional manager. But he was tasked almost exactly 10 years ago to leave his role as a regional manager and start to study, explore, collaborate with contract decorators, and built up a network and a program around that. Did get a partner in crime, Rich Jacobs, to join him on that journey. But really, just in the last 3-4 years, this department took shape. So, our customers that we call on or do site visits with are still contract decorators, but the areas that we're covering and tackling and trying to help collaborate are broad and wide. So we tackle decoration challenges. So that could be with a contract decorator or frankly anybody. We have a team email address that anybody that's a customer of ours can, if they're having a struggle, a challenge, or even just simply a question, we're receiving those inquiries and tackling those. We get a lot of people that ask us for insights and our perspective on new equipment or other things outside of our initial wheelhouse. And I think that stems from our company culture. Marty Lott, built this company and our sales team around not a traditional commission, order hunting business model, but all of our reps in the field are striving to become trusted advisors, right? So they're in there, they're making relationships, they're getting people to be in it for the long haul. And when you have that culture for, over 45 years, it creates an environment where a lot of people come to us asking us questions about things that aren't what shirt do you recommend, whether it's at a trade show or when you're in there during a meeting. I think the challenge we face with creating that environment is not a lot of our reps have background with decoration, right? So our team, I like to describe it as trying to be that kind of brain trust for several customers, including our own employees. If it's anything related to decorating apparel that you have a question on, that you're having a problem with or unsure of, we're trying to own those processes and those solutions.
Nice. All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, and I love how you kind of reference back to the company culture. We talk about that on this show all the time for businesses, is create that culture that'll get you to that point down the road. And by having everybody be a part of that success, that's really awesome. Really a great way to do it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a long-term model, right? So you're not hunting for that order today, you're hunting for a partner in the long haul. And again, we're all just, blessed, fortunate, however you wish to say it, to have this company culture. A big part of our team struggle is just getting people to understand we exist and who we are and what we're doing, because it is so rare and unique. One of the aspects I love is getting to meet a lot of the other folks in the industry, like you two gentlemen, like the fellow folks that are doing these trade shows and trade show circuits. I get the honor of being able to cross the aisle, to leave the booth for a little bit and kind of learn and network the room. It's how I met Eric Campbell, and I know I visited Terry at a show here a little ways back in Secaucus, and it's an awesome opportunity. There's so many wonderful people out there with great insights, great perspective, and let's face it, really just genuinely nice people, right? It's very rare that I come across, the aisle and go start a conversation and somebody's giving me the brush off. But our challenge a lot of times is defining, why is a SanMar guy coming to talk to me? I've already got my trade show uniforms. Like, we're good.
I love the fact that you can look at a shirt and go, oh, that's a so-and-so or 427.
I did jump on the equipment zone guys and made some waves there a little bit. Hopefully good stuff. In all honesty, Terry, I mean, that's a good example of what we're doing. I had never really had an engagement with those guys. I talked to Jeff before. I knew about you. I'd never really reached across the aisle and had a conversation with you before. Got to know the owner, and more importantly, got the owner to meet our channel manager, Mark Bailey. And last I heard, there's some great collaboration going on, beyond trade show uniform and some testing.
Harry is one of the sponsors of this show at Equipment Zone, and he is all in. You did quite the presentation, and he's gung ho for January trade shows. Sure.
Well, I'm excited about that. Again, it's the hardest thing is honestly getting that first dialogue back and forth. During the trade shows, there's a lot of warmth and engagement sometimes, but it's after the show, who does the follow up? Is that follow up responded to? So I always say it takes two to dance, right? So I don't even remember if he reached out to me or I reached out to him, but either way, Harry was a great guy to start that dialogue post show. And he and Mark are now taking lead on some good collaborative efforts.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to point out that Billy Idol, he dances with himself.
I was going to say, that
is true. There is one exception to that rule. That's right. But very good reference. I like it. Absolutely.
So quick, Terry, I just wanted to back up. I didn't want to miss a comment. Cheryl Kuchek had said amen when we said, kind of the Hotel California reference of once you get into this industry, you can never leave. So, all right. Well, Monty, for the average decorator, the sound of a team dedicated to solving decoration and apparel problems and networking sounds fantastic. But what do you think the benefits of your work are for both the decorator and to SanMar as an organization? I know you talked a little bit about the culture, but maybe dig a little deeper into really how that benefits both sides, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, this industry's fascinating and charming from my perspective. You don't go get your certification to be a screen printer or an embroiderer. I think over the years, I've always heard talks about, different organizations trying to put together some sort of certification or training courses. And there's a lot of good education out there, but it's not required, right?
Yeah.
So this is a, kind of learn as you go, trial and error. I used to always tell people, when you hear somebody who says they can't do something, it's because they don't want to try, or they don't want to mess with it right now. Because, my dad and I, and frankly, my customer base, I've been around it. They, where there's a will, there's a way, right? So what SanMar's done, I think, a good job of, and our team kind of ties together with, we have a website devoted to general education for the industry. It's SanMar University, or education.sanmar.com. And that houses kind of our collection of information from all perspectives and all aspects, including apparel. Our team's focus is just on the decoration side. And there's some really good resources that our team contributes towards the SanMar U page on the decoration thing. But there's a lot of people that get into this industry, they take some classes, and then they're learning as they go, and they're going to hit some bumps and bruises along the way. So, one of the things that, we're trying to get out there is we exist, we're here, we're helpful, we're nice, we're friendly. And really our team has a pretty good depth of knowledge, but I would say more importantly, outside of our team's knowledge, through Mark's efforts and our team's efforts over the years, we've gotten connected and really know the actual experts out there, the guys like Eric Campbell that have truly lived the life at depths that we haven't, so that when we get somebody frustrated about some embroidery, when we can reach out to Eric and say, hey, take a look at this file. What are you seeing that I can't see? I don't have that specialized background like you do. Can you help us solve this problem? We do that a lot with the ink guys, especially because let's face it, screen printing, it's a chemistry experiment every day. You step into the office, you step into the back shop there. So we work great partnerships with Wilflex, Rutland, many of the leading suppliers, and getting to the source of the guys that know the information.
It's interesting, and we've been talking about this a lot this year on Two Regular Guys. Is the days of saying, hey, I'm going to be a screen printer, or I'm going to be a sublimation decorator, or whatever, and hanging out your shingle. Those days are gone. You have to offer more to the customer than, hey, here's in your case, here's your case of shirts. Good luck. Right. And it's certainly a positive movement throughout the industry, and I think it's throughout all businesses. But Monty, we need some tips that our listeners can apply in their shops right now. What's the number one mistake that decorators make in selling garments to their clients, and how do they fix that?
I've spoken about this before, and have taken this message along, since my early days of training from SanMar, and even, I guess really dating back to my dad's shop, which is so many customers come to you with their previously, used garments, right? So it's rare that you have an opportunity to get started with an end user company that has yet to engage with, say, uniforms or printed shirts. More often they come in and said, hey, this is the polo I'm getting. These are the t-shirts my guys wear. Can you give me a quote, right? It's just right to the bottom line. Let's just get to the price. I'm using a guy, they may or may not reveal why they've stepped into your shop. But usually the conversation goes directly to the bottom line numbers. And that's unfortunate. A lot of people fall into the trappings of, not a problem. Let me, draw up a quote for you and get back to you with the price. And they don't take the extra steps to kind of pre-qualify, A, how they got there, B, what are they using, and really more importantly, what is your company about? What are the guys or the people that are wearing these things doing? Are you a landscaper? Are you, in the banking industry, whatever it might be? But the trap there is you're relying on the previous company or sales rep who sold them those garments. You're relying on their expertise. You're hoping that maybe they ask the diligent questions. So I love those opportunities where you can ask some key questions and then, pivot them towards some better product. SanMar alone is putting out, 200 plus new styles every year. There's constant change in this industry with innovations in fabrics and technology. So, part of it is that as well. Hey, maybe that was the best shirt for you last year or 2 years ago. But let me show you something new and innovative. Here's a polyester shirt that doesn't snag. Here's a polyester t-shirt that doesn't bleed and, have those challenges and headaches with it. So I think, taking a moment to have an honest conversation with a person who's just trying to get a quote can lead to good things.
Nice. Well, that's a great tip. Real quick before I get to my next question, we had a question from the comments here, and she followed it up. But dig is actually DTG. So DTG. Can you DTG print on an S608? She's got a customer that would like a full back print.
So I think, that answer is technically yes. It's a cotton poly blend. We get asked questions about heat applied things or heat related things, or in this case, DTG all the time. And we always try to take the safe and cautious answer. So I often will answer, maybe not to the person's liking, that yes, technically it could. But given that it is a cotton poly blend, and you could technically DTG, I don't think you're going to get a lot of vibrancy in the image, right? The more cotton, and certainly if it's a cotton faced item, the crisper the detail, the better the color saturation and everything is going to turn out. But if you're keeping it simple and want to go tone on tone or something really muted, have at it. But certainly temper the expectations of what that final result's going to look like.
Great tip, Terry. I see you shaking your head, so
hopefully he backs me up on that answer.
Yeah, absolutely going to back you up on that. You're dead on, and my recommendation is buy some and experiment.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Jan. Well, there's your answer. Hopefully we got you what you needed there. She said we usually screen print them. So all right, Monty, I want to get back to question I had here, and I'm kind of the tech guy of the two regular guys. No offense, Terry, but I think he has his yellow.
That's all right. Terry said he's all the charm and personality on the two of you.
Absolutely.
You guys
exactly right.
Play your role.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's my technology.
But I want to talk about that with you. We heard that you follow the tools and the software and in the industry, and especially as it comes to online sales. So what are the trends in technology that decorators should keep their eye on? And what are the differences that technology kind of can make in a business?
Sure. Yeah. One of the things I love about being part of this team is we're trying to stay tuned in with all aspects of decorating apparel, right? So on my team or on our team, I talked with Mark at the end of last year and said, I'd like to take stronger ownership on trying to network and connect with the technology companies in our industry. There's not a ton. And I had to kind of start with sort of dividing into two halves, companies that are more centered and rooted on the promotional product side, and then companies that are more, based and centered around decorating apparel, right? So we're trying to keep that focused niche around companies that are offering technology solutions for primarily focusing decorated apparel options, right? So not Sage, not ASI, more of the Shopworks, the Fast Manager, the Deco Network, right? So I started off this year with that exploration, curiosity. And again, part of the way that I fostered a relationship with Eric, having been a good contact at Deco Network, but have gotten to know, call it the top 7-8 companies out there. And I think if you asked all of them, are you 100% satisfied with what your platform can do for the industry? They would all tell you, no, we're not there yet. And I see a lot of companies that are focused on front end solutions or that web store side, but are quickly finding out that a decorator is, using, say, Order My Gear for front end and something else for shop management and something else for maybe their invoicing, right? 3 different systems, often not talking to each other, 3 different payments, 3 different investments, languages, things you have to keep up with. And that's a challenge. So there's just a few out there that kind of get start to finish as a true solution. But I think because so much of the industry is, at least for my contract decorator network, is about kind of optimization and efficiency. They need a process and order from start to finish as quickly and smoothly as possible. Little to no hiccups, bumps, callbacks, all that. Technology can play a critical role in that. But a lot of good companies out there, but everybody's still kind of working on tying those strings together and trying to be the kind of one final solution there.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. I think that we see growing a lot through. I work a lot in the sublimation world, and there's definitely a lot geared towards the screen printer, towards the direct to garment printer. But the sublimation folks don't have a whole lot going in their world either. And so there's definitely just a long way to go there still. But like you said, I think there's some really smart people working on it. So I'm excited to see what happens in the future.
There's a lot of fragmentation, which, I think is what you're alluding to there. Yeah. I think SanMar in its position in the industry and obviously more specific, our team is in a unique role where we can start to defragment those components, right? And I love that aspect of networking. So, hey, here's this company. What are they missing in their solution base? Let's, use our friendly relationship to kind of help push that forward and bring those fragments together and to kind of find some better whole solutions. But it's a struggle for everybody. The industry itself is not a massive industry. You don't have these big tech giants behind some of the software providers here. Some of them have tried to come in, tried to make waves, but I've more often seen them fail than succeed because our industry has some unique nuances to it that I think is good and I love dearly, but it makes it a challenge for some technology out there.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, we've one of the things I've always wanted to do, I just haven't been able to pull it off, and so I may have to ask you to help me with this, is we'd love to do like a roundtable discussion with the key software folks out there, get 3 of them, and very civil, but let's talk about where we're heading, what needs to happen, and all this stuff. It's not an opportunity. It's not like a CNN type. I hate you, you hate me.
Right.
It's actually.
I'm going to talk over you,
Aaron. I think that would be a welcome and fascinating thing that you could pull off successfully in getting to know some of these key, heads of the company and different kind of point of contacts. I have not gotten a sense of sort of venomous rivalry, right? Yeah. These guys understand that there's a lot of companies using, more than one system. And you see things that are in concert. There's a connection currently with Inksoft and Shopworks, right? You go on their sites, they're talking about that connection there. So there's already some native collaboration between some of these companies. But I think it would be an interesting forum to sort of, tech talk about where we are in the industry for sure.
Cool.
Fantastic. Well, so let's transition back to trade shows. We've been talking a lot about the SGI Expo coming up. Talk to us a little bit about how your customers and all of our listeners out there could best benefit from attending a trade show.
Boy, I tell you what, I think the key word there is preparation, right? And that statement comes from a couple different things. If you've never been to a trade show, they can be massive and overwhelming, like SGIA, for instance, right? So do your research ahead of time. Come in with a plan, because if you just go there and expect to, try to figure it out on the floor, even though it may be 2 or 3 days long, you can quickly get lost and overwhelmed just by the sheer enormity of the room even. And I would say the preparation too is also in looking at those training events and those seminars. I mean, that is so valuable, so important to seize the opportunity to go learn from, guest speaker experts such as yourself, that are there to share the wealth of information. I learned years ago that, talking to a wise man can be just as valuable as 4 years of college. And so learning from those that have been down the path before you and from their experience. And I think that comes from insights and advice, but also here's where I made a mistake, right? I think every good class I've taken and every good educator has said, here's what I did wrong, and let me help you avoid those pitfalls. So prepare, do the research on the website, look to see who's speaking, when they're speaking, where they're speaking. I think sometimes people come a little overwhelmed themselves by trying to do too many events and realize that, there's some overlap in schedule. You may get lost on the showroom floor. And I think the other thing too is go talk to those key vendors that you've hopefully learned or heard about from your, industry peers. Hey, I use this brand, or I use this equipment, or I use this thing. Don't just go in the booth and, poke the machines and see if they're real or not. Go in there and talk to the humans. The human beings in the booth are wonderful people. Begin a dialogue, begin a relationship. Take their card, but take their card with the action item of actually following up afterwards and reaching out and saying, where are you going to be next, and what can I learn from you?
Nice.
You know, and let me add something real quick to that too. The folks that are in there running those machines, more often than not, they're actually decorators, not necessarily employees of that company. I was in Fort Worth. I was right next to the folks at M&R, and who was running the machines? The guys from Graphic Elephants, who are world-renowned decorators. You know, and so make sure you talk to the people who are in there loading and unloading shirts as well.
Yes, absolutely. Ever more important to, and a show like SGIA, I mean, that Expo is massive, right? I myself had not done that show until I joined this team. And I was at New Orleans last year. That was kind of a crazy event with a hurricane and everything. And only just this past year did the Long Beach show as well, which is another big event for our industry. So still even a few years into this industry, still plenty of exposure I haven't had and people I haven't met yet.
Nice. All right. Monty, just got a quick question from the comments here. Cheryl Kuchek, does SanMar ever give group discounts? I'll let you connect with Cheryl independently, so you don't have to dig too deep into that. But Cheryl, just wanted to let you know we'll connect you with Monty, and he'll get you to the right people to talk to. Cheryl's part of a fantastic sublimation group on Facebook. She's actually not part of it. She's the founder of it. And
there you go.
It's a huge group, so I think it'd be a great relationship there. So
awesome.
Good stuff. All right. Well, here's a question I wanted to ask Monty, and you've obviously had an opportunity to be in a lot of shops and get to talk to a whole bunch of people, and you're doing an awesome job making those connections. But I'm curious what you see when you go in there. What's the difference between the shop that's struggling and the shop that's thriving? What do you think the major difference between those two places are?
A couple of things that come to mind first and foremost. One would be taking that initial sales approach of asking questions versus jumping to conclusions and providing what you feel like is the quick, easy out solution there. So I think that's a fundamental that we all can continue to remind ourselves needs to be part of the first step. I would say on a bigger picture scale, user experience is often over or underappreciated and overlooked. So it's what I've learned even from my dad, right? So, my dad has, is still in the industry. He's got a pretty good website. He's got a great name. He gets people that contact him. And when he takes that initial contact, it isn't, hey, I'll call you back, or email me and I'll send you a quote. He makes sure to have a good relationship started from the get-go. But then the entire process needs to be examined from, the people that are placing these orders, the people that are trying to find these decorated garment solutions. That's not their job, right? Their job is they own a landscape company. They're, the marketing director, HR director at some organization. So they've got, 90% of their life is doing something else, but they've been asked to get Nike polos for a trade show, or, get the guys new shirts because they're all falling off their bodies, right? Yep. So I think with the perspective of that user experience in mind, getting them to think about, what are those options out there, the fact that you can be a trusted advisor to help him. And trusted advisor, what I like about that is sometimes you don't have the answer or the solution. Sometimes it's a decoration technique that you don't offer. So in those instances, even when I was an outside rep, product we didn't have, that's not a problem. I know who does have it, right? So let me point you in that direction. They're still going to see you as that valued trusted advisor and have a positive user experience. But I would say that experience, starts with the sales, goes through the internal process, and then, let's not just throw all the printed shirts in a dirty old box and wait for them to come pick it up, right? So let's make that whole process and those kind of, call it 3 basic steps, a positive one, so that, they think of you as the trusted advisor, as that great solution going forward. If you can master those techniques, or at least put your best foot forward, I think the thing that I've witnessed about that strategy is suddenly price isn't on the table as much. The guys that I talk to, they're like, I'll beat anybody in town. We're the low price leader in, Albuquerque or whatever. They typically don't have those processes figured out, right? And they do jump to the bottom line. But when you have a positive user experience and a wonderful engagement, my dad's, continues to share great examples with me about, it goes through these orders in this process. the price isn't even talked about, right? They realize they've gotten in front of the person that is going to give them the best possible results.
Nice. Yeah, that's so awesome to hear you say that. I actually do a Small Business Saturdays thing on my personal Facebook page, and last week we talked about the customer experience, the user experience, and I mean, basically, you said all the things that I truly believe in. To take that price conversation off the table, it's not necessary. If you can solve a problem for them and make it a good experience, the money part doesn't matter. They've already got money set aside for this project. So, you know, it's that's perfect. Thank you so much for making me feel like I knew what the heck I was talking about.
No, and honestly, like the whole, price cane and lack of service it can feel like that's, where things are heading, and that's everybody's doing that. And I'm in the trenches in that battle. So it is good to kind of hear that from other folks, that it is not a dying art form. But it is an art form that needs to continue to be, resurrected and reminded to be more of a service-led company. I would argue that's the genesis of SanMar's, company, and we're not known industry-wide as being the cheapest guys all the time. But we forged ahead, and we've got a great company to base off that, and it's been a good solution for us.
Nice.
Well, one thing about SanMar and I hear this all the time because I talk to a lot of new people in the industry, or people who've been in for a short amount of time. The one thing that you hear when someone mentions SanMar is, "Oh, I love those guys." And so that's obviously more than providing you with a case of shirts. So you guys are doing a great job over there. And I want to talk real quick because we're getting down on our time here. Talk a little bit about Instagram. You're always posting a lot of pictures. How did that start, and what do you hope to accomplish on Instagram and any other social media?
Yeah, so it was probably 5 or so years ago that I created the sort of social media moniker Apparel Geek, and it came about because I would go, I was, call it, 8-9 years in with my territory. After that length of time, you're seeing these businesses twice a year, you're getting comfortable, you're getting those relationships going, to the point I've been speaking to earlier. I didn't want to just walk in there and go, hey, here's 60 new products, here's this new polo, here's this new t-shirt. I increasingly wanted to bring kind of outside the bubble inspiration, what's going on outside this building here, and what's happening, trends and decoration techniques. And we would come out with a product, and I would sort of see that product as a canvas that's been 80% painted, but it's your job to fill in that last 20% with the logo, with the decoration, whether it's creatively or in a meaningful way. So I was getting all of these great insights, whether it was from customers or really from the peer network of our sales team, but I didn't trust my brain anymore, to remember all that. I was starting to have my first kid and losing sleep. So I wanted a way, I would see these customers every 6 months. Well, 6 months later, I forgot about that awesome thing that I learned about or picture I'd seen from a trade show. And so I wanted to try to have a connectivity to these customers. And, first instinct might be like, hey, every time you see something cool, let's email blast everybody. But I started to realize that that's kind of what social media is about, right? Staying connected to the people that, value your perspective or opinions or the things that you're seeing. So I actually started with Twitter, which I had not built an account for personally. And I liked the brevity of it. It seemed to be more of a professional social media platform. Eventually got on Instagram, eventually on Facebook. But it's my, call it, inspirational shareback portal as Apparel Geek. And believe it or not, the whole concept was never about me. It was really about the concept itself. So I've tried to rope in other, employees of SanMar. Matt Foley, who chimed in early, is another fellow Apparel Geek, I would say. BJ Charlie, who just joined our team, another fellow Apparel Geek. So I've even reached out to those guys to say, hey, I'll give you my login. When you learn and see cool stuff, let's all post content there so we can share back those amazing things we have the, again, ability and privilege to see.
Fantastic. Aaron, I'm not going to give you my login because
it can be dangerous. It's dangerous. There's some risk. There's some risk there for sure.
Terry, I
Hey, Monty,
have your login, so
that's true.
He set up your account, Terry. Don't forget that. He set up your
Yes,
account.
he did. Hey, Monty, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we wrap up here?
No, I think you guys have been great with the questions and the prep work y'all have done. Thank you for doing that. Sometimes these things can be very improvised, and I that's I was a theater kid back in high school, and I don't mind a little improvisational stuff. But I really appreciate y'all putting some thought into some amazing questions. Come see us, SGIA. We'll all be there, right? So whether it's that show or any show down the road, one member of our team is at every major decoration show across all parts of the country. So please come to the booth, introduce yourself, let us know you heard about us through this wonderful event here, the podcast and everything, and bring us you're tired, you're weak. All right, maybe that's the wrong language. Bring us your solutions, bring us your examples of where you found success. Ask us, you're looking to get into DISUB, you're looking to get into DTG. Reach out to us. We've got some unique perspective on that. And at the very least, if you're looking at, say, an Epson DTG printer, that's cool. Let me share what I know about that. But let me also introduce you to the guy who really knows about that. And so we love doing those kind of aisle walks where I can leave the SanMar booth and bring that customer over to meet somebody like Terry or one of the other vendors in the room. So please come say hi, come introduce yourself, and we'd love to take any and all questions.
All right, good. Well, Monty, I've got one challenge for you here as you leave.
Sure.
Todd had mentioned he's used SanMar for years and never realized that these extras were available. So
Sure.
where can people find you? Where do people need to? I know Twitter, Apparel Geek, Apparel. Give us all that.
Well, before even that, I mean, I think the best resources that we have from the SanMar side of things, one would be, a decent URL. So education.sanmar.com. That's our SanMar University site. It really is a wonderful portal housing so many connectivities to decoration techniques, to garment sizing and all that. Our team has a landing page off SanMar.com. So if you hover over resources, you'll see a link there to the Decorator Relations team. Okay. And you can email decoratorrelations@sanmar.com with any and all questions, any and all challenges you're facing. You can reach out to that kind of team email. And then, last but not least, apparelgeek.com. That's my own personal website that sort of houses these connective strings as well. So feel free to reach out to me there. But really, SanMar University and the Decorator Relations team site are going to be your best resources.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Monty, and we will see you next week in Las Vegas.
Yes, thank you guys. Again, awesome opportunity. Really appreciate the questions and getting to meet and know you guys more and more.
Looking forward to it. All right. Terry, fantastic. That was awesome. Yeah, good stuff from Monty. All sorts of great information. And I love kind of hearing some things that, I've always believed in and being able to kind of have somebody as smart as Monty kind of back those things up. So fun stuff.
It was awesome, great, and I'd met Monty at a trade show previous, and I was serious about that. He can look at what you're wearing and tell you what brand and style number it is. So
nice.
So so the guys at Equipment Zone will be outfitted with apparel from SanMar come January at the Long Beach show.
Very nice.
Hey, speaking of Equipment Zone, let's hear a word from our longtime sponsor, Equipment Zone, right now. Our show today is sponsored by Equipment Zone. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000 direct-to-garment printer. Equipment Zone is the only Epson reseller who sends a technician to every customer location for training. This is an absolutely free visit to your location. Equipment Zone is also the manufacturer of the #1 pre-treat machine in the industry, the Speed Treater TX. With no compressor and no special tanks, the Speed Treater TX is the easiest and most consistent pre-treat machine available worldwide. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000, the Speed Treater TX, and for all your DTG inks and supplies. That's equipmentzone.com. That's equipmentzone.com. And make sure, and if you're going to SGIA, watch for something very special Equipment Zone will be doing there. I'll be posting about it on social media on Thursday morning, the first day of the show. And Aaron, over the next week or so, Equipment Zone's also going to be announcing some additions to the Equipment Zone staff, and there are going to be some names that a lot of folks in the industry will recognize. So watch for that next week. And also, Aaron just found out yesterday that Equipment Zone has now signed on to be a sponsor of the 2019 ThreadX powered by SGIA. So
Awesome.
Glad to be a part of that as well.
Excellent. Well, speaking of SGIA, Terry, I want to flip the script here a hair, and can we jump to 5 things first and then come back to other events?
Let's do that. All right. I'm ready to hear your 5 things.
Yeah, definitely, because some of the things I'm going to talk about will cover this too. So let's do that. Here we go. We're going to go, and I'm going to put myself solo here, Terry. So be right back. 5 key points for SGIA's 2018. So I want to just tell everybody, and I'm going to have links to this on our website. We're going to have an infographic with some links to this stuff because I think it's really important. But number 1, make sure to come out a day early on Wednesday for the Essential Small Business Strategies session. And I'm not just saying that because I will be presenting at that. I was looking through the list and I'm going, oh my God, how did I get on this list? So there's some amazing presenters that are going to be great. And looking forward to that. And number 2, plan on attending the Women in Print Alliance breakfast with keynotes by Kathy Corman Frey. She is the founder of the Hot Mamas Project. So should be a great opportunity to kind of network and see what's going on with the wonderful women that are involved in our industry. And number 3, you want to join us, Terry and I, at the amazing networking event on Friday that we talked about earlier, the Garment Decorators Luncheon. So that's going to be a great opportunity to meet, hear Ricardo Crespo, as we already talked about, and some great stuff there. Number 4, we're going to invite you to check out the Golden Images Competition award winners, which will be on display at the show. Got to go see everything that's going on next year. And make sure you enter next year. If you did not enter this year, or even if you did enter this year, this is something worth getting involved in. Doesn't matter where you think your skills are. Enter, see how you stack up. Number 5, give yourself plenty of time to explore the more than 550 exhibitors on the show floor. So that's a lot of ground to cover, and wear comfortable shoes. I don't have my watch on right now, but the step count on that next week will be probably some of the most steps I've taken in a long, long time. And then bonus, Terry, while I drag you back in here, download the app. I don't have my phone in front of me right now because I shut it off for the show, but the SGIA app is fantastic. It is a must-have on your phone. Easily find stuff. It's got maps. It'll point you in the right direction. Look up speakers. See what's going on in the social media world. It's got everything covered for you. So it's a really great app. So there we go. That's all right. 5 plus 1 thing.
Fantastic. Those are all awesome. And it's going to be an exciting week next week for all types of decorators in Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Terry, what do you got coming up on your schedule?
Well, Aaron, I'm leaving this afternoon for my complete screen printing business course with Atlas Screen Supply in the Nashville location. Fingers crossed. That's going to be a Saturday, Sunday event. It is sold out. I'm hopefully it won't be like my last trip to Nashville, where I spent most of the night in the Dallas airport and arrived just in time to, well, it's to 45 minutes into the class. So October 27th and 28th, I'll be doing that same class at Workhorse Products in Phoenix. And November 1st, I'll be in Charlotte and participating with the folks at Equipment Zone and with Epson, doing the free Epson DTG class before the NBM show that starts up on the 2nd and 3rd. So that's at thenbmshow.com. You can find out about the Charlotte event. The following weekend, I'm going to be that's going to be November 10th and 11th. I'll be back in Chicago, wrapping up my travel year for work anyway, offering the complete screen printing business course at Atlas Screen Supply there in Chicago as well. You can find all my events at terrycombs.com under tour dates. And Aaron, I'm just about ready to load up my calendar for 2019, just finalizing a few things. And it's scary. We got shows around the corner.
Yeah, it's already coming up quick. In fact, do a lot of business in the holiday season myself in the sublimation world. So I'm already feeling the pressure. But
Aaron, you want to talk about any of the events that you're going to be doing at SGIA?
Yeah, absolutely. I just bring that up real quick. I mentioned earlier in the show with Monty that on Saturdays I do Small Business Saturdays, and like I said last week we did customer experience. This week I'm going to be talking about finding your niche. So that is at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Just go to facebook.com/aaronmontgomery.info and tune in. It's a little short, less than 30-minute bite, and we have great interaction there too. So I'd love to have you join me for that. I mentioned the Essential Small Business Strategy session already, and that's from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. on October 17th. I will be presenting at the very end, marketing your business online. So I'll be talking about social media and some ways to make use of that. And then on Friday, October 19th at 10:30 a.m. there in Las Vegas, I will be presenting digital marketing, growing your business with social media and email marketing. So be digging a little further into social media and some of that, but also digging into email marketing, another tool that I think is very useful for marketeers out there. So going to be some great stuff going on out at SGA, and I can't wait to see everybody there. Terry and I will be having a whirlwind Friday together, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And if you don't have a strong online presence right now, make sure you get out to Aaron's events. I've sat through some of them before, and it's going to be a ton of great information.
And he even wrote down on his yellow legal pad, so I felt very good about myself after that. So.
All kinds of notes today. Most of them are Montys, but
great notes. Yes, I typed them into my iPad in front of me, but that's okay. Terry, we're in bonus time. Great show today. We've come to the close of it here. Thank you so much, Monty, for joining us. Monty with SanMar. In fact, I'll pop up the website he just posted, education.sanmar.com. Go check him out there. And I'm looking forward to getting to actually meet him face-to-face next week.
All right. And hey, a really, really special thanks to our show producer, Eric Campbell at ericcampbell.com. Eric did a ton of work getting this show put together for us. And Eric can tell you how much we appreciate that. We also want to thank our sponsors, the Specialty Graphic Imaging Association, SGIA, and also our longtime sponsor, Equipment Zone. We very much appreciate your support.
Absolutely. And next week, Terry, as we mentioned, we'll be at the SGI Expo, and we're going to figure out how we're going to do this show. It's going to present all sorts of challenges. We'll both be at SGIA, so who knows what the Wi-Fi is going to be like. We will also be joined by somebody that's in Brazil, and we're going to talk about embroidery and digitizers working with them from foreign countries. So who knows what challenges those are going to bring. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully tune in here on Facebook. Otherwise, we'll get it recorded and up on the website as a podcast as well. So
right, we'll try to give you a heads up on we'll give you a heads up on how we're going to be doing that once we figure it out for ourselves. Yeah. But Aaron, and until then, he's Aaron Montgomery. I'm Terry Combs, and we are
the Two Regular Guys. Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.